spoke to the police commissioner to ask for his immediate release, and I'm here today to support Councilmember Osse. Thank you.
Oh, no. You're not supposed to do that, Julie. Council Speaker Julie Menin. Olga Pismenti tells me this morning that Michael Alois, the judge that pretty much made sure yesterday that Jonathan Diller's killer, Guy Rivera, will never, ever, ever see the light of day. Well, you never know with these parole boards, but he'll never get out. Either way, Michael Alois, she tells me, is retiring this week. Didn't know that, so he's had a great career. Thank you, Michael. That was Julie Menin. You know my history with Julie. You know, I endorsed her in a big way over Crystal Hudson. I was told, listen, she's Jewish, said she's moderate. So I endorsed her. And then she came on this show. I finally got her on. We missed a couple of lunch dates and other appearances. But she came on one morning. She was very gracious because that was the day when New York was freaking out because Mamdani, that prick, once again was threatening New Yorkers. That day it was the 9.5% property tax increase. So Menin came on and did a great job and explained to me and you guys that he can't do it because she has the last say and she will not allow it. So she was great. And I told her how great she is and battling anti-Semitism. I really laid it on. And then the very next day, she called me an Islamophobe in the media. Why? Because Mamdani's people got pissed off that she was on with me. They tried to do that to Jessica Tisch, but my friend Jesse wouldn't do it. But Julie did. She did it twice. Twice she called me. But I still let it go. I forgave her. I did. Because she's done some good things, tried at least, the buffer zones, a few other things along the way. So I started to feel a little better about Julie, including a nice text. But now it turns out that she may have overstepped her boundaries by defending one of the biggest losers in any job in this city, and that is the lunatic progressive city council member Chi Osse, who was arrested last week in Brooklyn. Of course, that didn't stop the mayor and Menin and others from defending him as a great city council member because deed theft is such an issue in this city. That may be true. Deed theft may be an issue in this city. It may be. It probably is. That doesn't mean that Chi Osse should show up at some protest and elbow some cop and then claim that he's the victim and then have his speaker there to defend him. The speaker should have defended the cops. But that's becoming a bigger issue in this city. And Julie is not anti-cop, okay? I'm sorry. We're going to talk about this complaint right now, and she did overstep her boundary, and she probably should be. She probably should be punished, but I don't believe in her heart, like Mamdani, she's anti-cop. But this is not my complaint. It's the SBA, the Sergeants Benevolent Association. My dear friend, he's a great cop and a great president. Vincent Vallelong is here to join me live right now. Vin, good Tuesday morning, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you, Sid?
I'm great. Give me the details on this. I've got 4 pages in front of me. I'll read the first paragraph. On behalf of the Sergeants Benevolent Association, Benevolent, one word, we submit this formal complaint requesting that the board investigate the conduct of Council Speaker Julie Menin, as we believe Speaker Menin has violated 2604 of Chapter 68 of the New York City Charter and related provisions of the Conflicts of Interest laws. One more. This complaint arises from Speaker Menin's reported actions and public statements on April 22nd, 2026, in connection with the arrest of Councilmember Chi Osse. Specifically, Speaker Menin is reported to have directly contacted the police commissioner regarding the incident and to have publicly weighed in on the propriety of the arrest and its handling. So, to make it nice and simple, she's not supposed to contact the police commissioner. She's not supposed to use her title to try to get people in her council out of trouble. That easy, right, Vince?
Yeah, and you're not allowed to make the police officers and women of this job punching bags for your political posturing. which is exactly what happened with Osse. All right, he resisted arrest, he refused to comply, and he got put down to the ground. Which in my day and age, he got laid down on the ground. To be honest with you, Osse was in a place where he should not have been. This was all about him and his political office. And what really got me going on all of this was that where are the lines drawn where they're accountable on their end? And when the Speaker of the City Council shows up at a pre-planned or a pop-up press conference, and she's standing side by side with an individual that just put police and the civilians on the street their security basically was breached at that point in time. He was right on top of the police officers. I mean, she didn't know that, but she showed up right next to him, stood next to him, and just by her being there and being the Speaker of the House sent a shocking message, probably to all 51 of those council members, where they're allowed to basically look at her from now on being their get out of jail free card.
I agree with everything you're saying. And I don't believe there's a bigger loser. I mean that. This guy, Osse, is a loser. He says things on the floor that you wouldn't believe. Everything from calling President Trump a pedophile, right there. Never, ever, ever been punished. He was the guy that called me a racist piece of shizzle on my Twitter account on that Monday night when he, like every other Democrat, joined together in bashing me because of what I said about Mamdani. But let me play devil's advocate for a second, okay? Let's just say, Vince, that you are a detective, okay? A sergeant. And this sergeant did something that even you weren't sure was right. Being the president of that union, whether you believed it was right or wrong, wouldn't you be standing right next to that sergeant because he's your guy?
Sid, when was the last time you ever seen a Speaker of the City Council stand next to someone who was just locked up? In my day and age, I don't remember that ever happening.
I don't either.
It sends a terrible message. And I'm not saying that she's anti-police. I'm not. However, the message that she sent and the words that she used, that she basically springboarded off of Osse's, that they contacted the police department to get him out early, and that other people were still in there, and he would not have been out if it wasn't for his position that he held. He clearly states that those are violations of the city charter.
Do we know?
And what recourse do we have on our end? With the police department.
No, you're doing the right thing. Do we know, Vincent, the conversation? Did she speak directly to Tish? Did she speak to Delaney Kempner? Did she speak to somebody?
I wasn't privy to any of that. But you know what? Okay. I'm going off of what it is that they displayed to the general public. That they clearly stated in their press conference that they went out and reached out for preferential treatment to get Osse out. Okay, which I have 3 of my sergeants that are in that video. All right, I have police officers that are in that video. Their safety is the ones who were in jeopardy at that point in time, because he's there to rile up a crowd, nothing more. All right, that is not what a city councilman or a city councilwoman could be doing. So it needs to be investigated. Every time these people decide they're going to come out to these demonstrations, they're going to put our people in jeopardy, I'm going to file these types of complaints against them. Okay? I'm not saying I'm going to do it frivolously. When they do something wrong, I am going to come after them the same way they would me and any of my people.
Listen, there's no question. This is why Mamdani is such a lying piece of garbage when he comes out and talks about, well, there's no room for political violence after what happened to President Trump on Saturday. But he's all for his people in the streets causing all kinds of chaos, which does include violence. That's why Mamdani's a liar. And like Menin, he was out there publicly defending Osse. Now, again, you're going after Menin because she is the city council speaker. He's a member of that council, so clearly it was a favoritism deal. Now, you said that he resisted arrest. I got to take it a step further. I'm pretty sure, Vincent, that I saw in that video, not only did he resist arrest, but I believe he was the first. He was the first to get violent when he elbowed a female police officer. Did I not see that?
Everybody's seen that on that video, and it didn't look like he got thrown to the ground, or I don't know how fragile his head is. That he was so woozy afterwards, but it didn't look like that he was physically trampled on when he got put down to the ground. And nor did he actually comply with the police officers. He was literally inches away from them, all of them at that point in time. He had no purpose being there at all.
I'm looking at what you guys respectfully request. You want to initiate a formal investigation into Speaker Menin's communications with the NYPD, including any direct or indirect contact with Jessica. Subpoena and review all relevant communications, including call logs, emails, text messages, and staff-assisted correspondence. Determine whether Speaker Menin's actions violated New York City Charter 2604 or related provisions. Impose appropriate sanctions and or guidance to prevent similar conduct in the future. Anything there that did I miss anything there, Vince?
No, you didn't. And you know what? What they did by getting up and basically calling out the police commissioner the way they did was put her on the spot. Which is not fair. There are channels that they can go through in order to find out what the status is of Osse in the 7-9 precinct. They didn't do that. They felt it was in their right to go to direct line. They just cut through all of the BS and went right to the direct line, and then immediately all showed up for a little press conference so that they can all be seen as doing something, great for the community. The police were called to this location. It's not like we generated this, and they're going to make us to be the scapegoats on this whole thing. This is because of their actions, and their actions need to be investigated, and that's what I'm calling for. This all stemmed from Osse. There was when Menin got up there, I was shocked that she said that she directly reached out to the police commissioner and that they were happy that Osse got out, when he did. And he got out a lot quicker than anybody in the general public would have ever gotten out of that precinct.
Well, that speaks to a favor. That's not good.
Play that one more time, Lewis, just to really drive this point home for my friend Vincent. Julie Menin, cut number 15, got her on tape, red-handed, called the police commissioner. This is cut number 15.
I spoke to the police commissioner
Ouch.
to ask for his immediate release, and I'm here today to support Councilmember Osse. Thank you.
Have you heard anything back yet from Menin, her office, anybody at the city council?
Someone from her office called me last week, and that was it. There was nothing else.
But last week, you did not, as far as I know, Vincent, you did not file this formal complaint until yesterday, right?
Well, you have to remember, I'm not going to file a formal complaint just writing down on a piece of paper, what it is I feel. I have to sit down and talk to my lawyers, see exactly what the direction is we can go, and make sure that certain things were violated according to the city charter. And I'm not going to go into a game and then not bring a playbook with me. You have to have an idea of how it is you're going to conduct that game. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to look like a fool when I file these papers. So, yeah, we waited the whole weekend. We put everything together. I sat with the attorneys, and this is what we put up.
No, it's fair. I mean, you're going by the rules. The rules here don't.
And that is what I will always do, Sid.
Yeah, no. Are you more upset with Julie Menin or Chi Osse? Both.
You expect it from Osse, all right? But when the Speaker of the City Council gets up there, whether it's Democrat or Republican, all right, and I don't take sides with this. So long as you're doing right by my people, I'm good with it. But when you stand up there, it sends a shocking message to every other city councilman and every other citizen in New York that you're allowed to do whatever you want to do, and you can point your fingers and make the police the scapegoat. That's not going to happen under my watch.
Love it. Vincent Vallelong is the president of the SBA, the Sergeants Union here in New York, and I think he's doing a great thing here. He's not going to stand for it. Chi Osse clearly out of line. That's at the very least at a protest last week, despite what the mayor and the city council speaker say about him. He was out of line, if not doing something illegal. And here comes the city council speaker defending him. Okay, let's see what they do, what Menin does, what our office does, and where this goes. But I think you've done the right thing here. Let me check in, too, about Eric Duran. Of course, he was allowed to go home, posted bail last week. Arthur Idala said, Sid, the first thing he did was he went to church. He went to church, and he thanked God for all of these opportunities. Now, where are we exactly with the Duran case?
Well, you have Arthur, who I speak to regularly. He's obviously him and his team are putting together, the best line of course of action they can for Eric. I believe they also have another help on their team, which is I believe your daughter's going to be involved in this too.
She is.
Yep. So
thank you.
Which is excellent. But listen, Eric was in a bad place. I mean, there's no two ifs, ands, and buts about it. Elmira was a bad place. And when I went to go see him the other day, I can tell you that I was ecstatic that he had a brighter look on his face. That he was with his family, which was most important to him. His wife was beaming that he was home. But he was everything that we see in the movies about how bad prison is, and the disgust is exactly what was described to me. He should never, ever have been put in that situation.
Guy Mitchell, that's the judge who put him there. But Michael Alois came up big yesterday for Jonathan Diller. I know another case that you spent a lot of time paying attention to, and I know, like me, you've met Stephanie Diller along the way. Your thoughts on the sentencing for Guy Rivera, which we found out yesterday?
He deserves everything that he gets. Matter of fact, he deserves a lot more, but unfortunately, we're not going to see that. Hopefully, like you said before, he does not see the light of day. It was a great mic drop for the judge that he's retiring on this case, and he sends a strong message going out to the general public that, this won't be tolerated, and it shouldn't be tolerated. Taking the life of a police officer affects their families, and, the Diller family, my heart goes out to them. It is... That was not solace what she got the other day. That was just a wound being reopened again.
That's well said. So on the way out, Vincent, again, is there a timeline in your head that you expect to hear back from Julie Menin, not somebody in her office, from her particularly, or do you not care? You just want to hear from somebody in that office ASAP? No,
I think you need some sort of dialogue going back and forth. I don't despise Julie Menin. But I just do not like the course of action that they took. No one ever reached out to us, but they can reach out to everybody else in order to get the facts. Maybe we would have been able to give them information where this would never have even had to come to that. But we're getting nothing from the other side, meaning the union representatives. And you're going to leave me to go right down the rule of the law. If you're going to go down that path and you think you're righteous, I'm going to look at exactly what the laws are, and we're going to use them against you. And I'm going to go, if it's filing complaints like this is how it is that I have to do in order to protect my membership, that's exactly what I'm going to do every single day.
Or the guys and gals, the sergeants here in New York City are so lucky to have you. I mean, I know you and I have become really good friends. I do love you, but you are one tough hero SOB in this city. I can't say enough good things about you, Vincent Vallelong. I thought you did a great job with this. I look forward to hearing Julie Menin's response. And again, New York City, we're very lucky to have you, pal. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sid. Have a great day. Great day.
You too. Vincent Vallelong right there, the president of the SBA, and he's standing up for his cops. Chi Osse is a liar. Let me say it again. Chi Osse is a liar. He's a provocateur. He's a troublemaker. And the problem is he's got some relatively big folks in this city, like the a-hole mayor and Julie Menin and others, that go out of their way to defend him when he is indefensible. He is a lowlife. Chi Osse is a lowlife. Way to go, Vallelong.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?